you did a phenomenal job on suggesting the three that you came up with based upon what our main goals were. We're very goal oriented, and, we made that clear to you, and you listened and you presented options to us that really helped us, get to where we want to be in 3 to 5 years.
Welcome to Francoach's Franchising 101 podcast series. Here we talk about all things franchising. What is it all about? Is it for you? How do you find the best one to own? And so much more. Now your host, Tim Parmeter.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the latest edition of Francoach's Franchising 101 podcast. I am Tim Parmeter, founder and CEO of Francoach, and your Franchising 101 host. Today, we are excited to have not one, but two guests in our In Their Words segment. And this is the segment where we're going to hear directly from Francoach clients who have become franchise owners. We're going to talk all about their backgrounds, what led them to consider franchise ownership, how they navigated the process with the Francoach team, as well as what franchise they chose and how it has gone so far. And knowing us, probably a whole bunch of other things, but that's the basics. The amazing couple we're going to talk to today have each built highly successful corporate careers, all while raising 3 little kids. Yet they felt it was time to build something of their own. They began searching for a franchise and ran across this really cool podcast. I think it's called Franchising 101, and then connected with our team. This is a very fun story for us to share with you today, and one that has a unique conclusion in the grand scheme of things. But before we get to our guests, we, of course, have to tell you this brief story. Who is Francoach? Well, Francoach is a national search firm dedicated to working with individuals who are interested in owning a franchise. We are partnered with well over 500 of the top franchisors in the country, spanning nearly 60 industries. Our goal is to help clients find the absolute best franchise for them to own. And the goal of the Franchising 101 series is to help educate people on all aspects of franchise ownership. All right, so that's us, but now let's get to really the absolute stars of the show. And clearly one of these two is going to be the star more than the other, but we'll let you guys figure that out once we go through here. So joining us today is Jenna and Jordan. And I'm going to botch this. We practiced even beforehand, but Jenna and Jordan, they have a last name. They're going to tell you what it is because I don't remember how to say it. So hey guys, how are you today?
Great. This is Jenna Buhajer.
Yes, exactly. Buhajer, Jordan. Get it straight.
Yes, I know. It's a fun one.
Yeah, so that's what really, we practiced that, and it's my last name isn't quite that crazy, but people botch Parmeter all the time, so I'm a little sensitive to it. But I'm like, oh, the hell with it. Let's just go with Jenna and Jordan.
There you go. Yeah,
cool.
We're the Jays.
How's life in Northern California, guys?
Good, a little rainy, but good. Just getting ready here for the holidays. So it's busy, but it's really fun to talk with you again, Tim.
Absolutely, and we've got a bunch of stuff we want to talk about in your journey into franchise ownership. This new amazing franchise that you guys have, but give us a scoop. I'm feeding into and lying to everybody about how amazing you guys, but you guys are probably not even doing it justice for what you guys have accomplished so far professionally and personally as well. But give us a little scoop on the backgrounds.
Yeah, just kind of who we are. So again, Jenna, and for the past 15 and a half years, I've built a career in public relations. So I've been working for a PR agency with clients mostly in the food, beverage, and retail space. So that has been my history. We also have 3 children, as you mentioned in the upfront, all under the age of 7. And I went part-time with my corporate job a few years ago when we had our second child. And have been kind of carrying on with that. And obviously we'll get into, how our paths crossed, Tim, but that's kind of my professional and personal background.
Yeah, and I've been in medical staffing for 15 years, and I love my job, love the organization, and it's really about, building teams and being part of a team. I played sports my entire life, and working with my current organization, it's been my new sports team, my new family. Again, been there for 15 years, and I love it. So it's been a journey, and I'm sure I'll be working for them much longer.
So both of those kind of situations, a little rare because a lot of the folks that we work with, though those successful in the corporate worlds, don't say those things, Jordan. They're like, get me the hell out of here as fast as humanly possible. I'm tired of working for somebody else. I don't like my job, or worse yet, their job didn't like them and now they're full-time search mode. You guys have been very successful and have enjoyed what you've done professionally. What made you start thinking about having a franchise?
Yeah, I think Jordan especially just has kind of that entrepreneurial spirit. We actually, a number of years ago, Jordan and his brothers invented a pet product that we took to market, and we're kind of doing that on the side when we were in our 20s. And it didn't pan out, but kind of have always had that little bit of a bug of, we should be doing something else for ourselves kind of on the side. And especially after we had kids and kind of made the decision that I should go part-time so that I could spend, a little bit more time, with the family, we kind of started going, okay, is there something that, could replace those corporate hours for me eventually, that could be our own thing. And so, we started, always having this kind of sense that, we would end up doing something, business-wise for ourselves. And we have some good friends who actually became master franchisees for a tea company. And we started talking to them about their business, really looking into it and kind of considering being a franchisee with what they had going on. And that's when Jordan and I started talking, and, we go, if we're really going to consider this, we should just get smart. Let's start doing the research, and you're going to love this, Tim. That's when I came across Franchising 101, the podcast. And so I listened to,
Wait, Jenna, Jenna, we didn't hear that. What podcast was that again? Just in case anybody missed that.
It's called Franchising 101.
Perfect.
Yeah, ding. But, listen to a number of episodes just like this. I mean, we really wanted to hear people's stories, and it just kind of helped us, kind of frame like, oh, wow, this is a whole industry and there's so much out there. And so that's when, I told Jordan about the podcast. He goes, let's call Tim. Let's get on his calendar. And so we did. And so, we connected with you really just in the spirit of educating ourselves and kind of knowing, what else was out there if we were going to start, really kind of considering this. And that's what led us to you.
And for me personally, it's we looked at our long-term goals, and we felt that, potentially owning and operating a franchise could help us meet some of those goals. And you guys referenced, we have 3 kids, and we would love for them to get exposure in operating a business and everything that's involved. So that was one aspect of our long-term goals, getting our kids to, think, I guess, independently, and so that one day they don't really have to depend on anyone but themselves. So that was one checkbox that we wanted to check off. And then secondly, cash flow, long-term cash flow in our future, so that we could, position ourselves to either work as much as we want or as little as we want. And owning and operating a franchise will get us there. And then lastly, I referenced, I worked for my organization for 15 years now, and I partake in creating teams, and I love it. I love motivating people. And by owning a franchise, we're going to be able to create something special where our team members want to come to work every day. They feel valued and rewarded. And that's something that Jen and I are very eager to get creating.
And I'm positive that you're going to do an amazing job with that based on both of your mindsets and experience. And I think one of the things that, like, in all seriousness, like, Jenny, your comment about kind of listening to some of the episodes that I love, these are not that I don't like when we have other guests, but when we talk with folks like yourselves that have didn't know much about this or nothing about franchising, and then kind of the journey through this to help realize this is more attainable than I think people realize. It's not all, McDonald's and Taco Bells out there. There's so many things. And then credit to you guys too for the open mind, because you came with a little knowledge and conversations on a franchise that was doing tea and beverages of that sort. What you ended up settling on is nothing like that at all. So, what was kind of your, and I'm sure there were some times where maybe it was hard to keep that open mind, but we kind of go through our journey. We get you presented with some franchises, one kind of in that space, but the other two were nowhere near that. So what was kind of your thought process when we got to that point and like, all right, guys, here's the three. And there's probably many reasons why I don't do things in that process on Zoom, because I don't want to see anybody's facial reaction with that. But give me your thoughts. Like, here were our three, and kind of starting that betting journey. What was going through your mind?
Well, first of all, I think leading up to that day, you revealed the three different franchise options for us. I mean, we were super excited, super, nervous at the same time, but I don't know, you did a phenomenal job on suggesting the three that you came up with based upon what our main goals were. We're very goal oriented, and I think, we made that clear to you, and you listened and you presented options to us that really helped us, get to where we want to be in 3 to 5 years. And, the options that you included, they were all different, but they were exactly what we asked for in terms of what we're interested in pursuing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think what was great about it is, we just kind of put our trust in you. So when you came back with these, some felt out of left field options, we still were kind of like, oh, okay, this could make sense. So I think you were waiting for us to tell you were crazy. And I don't think we ever did, because, we kind of had that trust that at the end of the day, we'd get somewhere. So, it was really interesting. And I think throughout the process, Tim, you'll recall, I feel like I called you my therapist a number of times as we were going through, because it was great just having you, because Jordan and I had each other and we could talk through, oh, okay, what did you think about, franchise A? And they said this and that. But then playing it back to you, you were able to have kind of that third party perspective and not steering us in any direction, but going, well, Jenna, I heard you say this, or Jordan, you mentioned this. And so just helping point out some of those nuances in how we reacted.
The inflections in our voice, you pointed out. Yeah. Every cue you nailed.
Yeah.
I mean, you played devil's advocate at points too, and that was important to us because, if we weren't necessarily looking at something from, an angle that you definitely pointed it out to us, and it helped us narrow down our search and focus. And at the end of the day, I mean, I think you went back to our goals and you helped us revisit them. And, ultimately we came to a decision, and we're happy where we landed. And I'm excited for everything. And we thoroughly enjoyed the process.
Awesome. No, and again, just so much credit to you guys on, and again, the open mind and following the process. And there's a reason why, the most important thing any franchise looks for in an owner is, can they follow the process? Are they trying to reinvent the wheel every step of the way? And if you're not going to follow a process, then don't start a franchise, right? And the same thing with this, because again, I'm sure I said this to you guys countless times. I don't care what franchise people start. It's our job to find the best one and kind of work through this. But you mentioned the inflection, and that happens. It's pretty common. Whereas we get into the process, you start vetting the calls, and we're talking every week or so to kind of hear the feedback from your calls with franchisors, and there'll be one, whether they start with it in the process, or they it's the one they want to save till the end. But I don't even have to listen to the words sometimes, right? You just, there's the inflection, there's the excitement, and then there's some ums and and it's like Eeyore kicks in all of a sudden, right? So with this, because it really is about that. It's not about the experience in the industry. It's about what you're going to do day in, day out, right? And that get out of bed test. And so ultimately we worked our way through this, and we came to a realization that it was a particular franchise. So I'm totally putting you on the spot. So the franchise is called Zoom Room. Give everybody the pitch. What the heck is a Zoom Room?
Yeah, Zoom Room, our new baby. So Zoom Room is a dog training gym, and it's all based on a positive reinforcement model. And we love the tagline, which is, we don't train dogs, we train the people who love them. So it's all about you and your dog coming in and spending time with our trainers and learning, tricks and tips and giving dog owners the tools that they need to succeed with training their dog. And it's everything from puppy classes all the way up to different levels of agility and everything in between. But we kind of were presented with it, and at first said the same thing, Tim, what the heck is Zoom Room? And then as we got into it, we kind of fell more and more in love with the business model as well.
And then we had an opportunity to fly out to Phoenix to check out one of their locations, just to get an idea of what the floor plan looked like, what the environment looked like. And we thoroughly, I thought it was great. It was something that we saw ourselves being able to do. And then we took a deeper dive and we looked at, what the process looked like in terms of, training the pet parents and everything that's involved in that. And then we looked at, what the training process looked like for their internal employees. And everything has, a type of movement or advancement. Most people they bring in at the front desk, they get them acclimated. And if they want to train, they could learn how to train their dogs. So it's cool how a company like that really empowers their employees to, get out of their comfort zone and try something new. And that's something that attracted Jenna and I to the business as well, how they train, develop, and reward their employees.
And really just you guys have talked about this a lot, just it's a fun environment, right? So your customers, your two-legged and the four-legged ones are having a great experience, and you get your staff. It's something that like they get to have an enjoyable experience, whatever's going on. It's just, I like, for lack of a better term, it's a happy place. And one of the things that some of the behind the scenes things that we always have to kind of vet through is some people are more attracted to the tried and true, like this has been around for hundreds of years, the industry or the franchise, right? Or there's hundreds or thousands of locations around. You guys were on the other side of that a little, like the excitement behind there's nothing wrong with dog grooming, right? Or hamburgers or whatever, where they're everywhere. This is a little bit of a newer concept for that. As you guys were kind of analyzing that, talk a little bit about kind of, I guess, maybe what really was attractive to you for something that's newer as far as what it's doing, but then also a little bit more of an emerging franchise. Where did you see some advantages for you guys?
Yeah, we got really excited about being able to kind of be in something that is just exploding, but, be at it from the beginning. So, from what we can tell, Zoom Room is blowing up, and, we're able to get in now when it's on its rise. And living in the, Northern California market, we live in Sacramento. You always look around and just do the personal test and go, do my friends need this? Do my family, does my family need this? How could my community benefit from this service? And we just, saw it so clearly. And so that was, really exciting for us to be able to think about you being the first to a market with, a franchise like this. We kind of liked that, being first in, being able to kind of build it out and really own that. And so, that's something that we're looking forward to doing with Zoom Room is, bringing it to those markets that haven't had it before. So, not being the third coffee shop of a certain brand in a town, but, really being the first to bring something to a market.
Yeah. And Tim, all the three options that you presented to us, the ownership or the people that worked for the organizations, all of them were great. And that was important to us as well, as what was the energy like, in terms of Mark, Anthony, Catherine, and Liz. And we had a great feeling when we initially spoke with them, and, subsequent conversations, learning more about what their long-term vision looked like for the organization, the reinvestment dollars that they're going to put back into it. All of that stuff is very motivating for me because, again, coming from a corporate background, if a company's doing well, you always want to find out how much more they're going to reinvest to their people and, the company in general. And that stood out to me personally. So, on those two facets, I think that definitely helped secure, our decision to move forward with the Zoom room.
Yeah, their infrastructure for it's still kind of an emerging franchise, and in anything under maybe 50 units open, kind of technically classifies as emerging franchise. Sometimes those franchisors in that situation are kind of winging it a little bit with an infrastructure. But these guys have really invested and probably built more than they need in their franchise for where they are because of the growth. And the amount of traction and interest they are gaining, and in part based on that support that they're able to provide for the franchisors. So we had their founder and CEO Mark on the podcast. Anybody looking at it on one of the podcast platforms, it's actually episode 52, where we had their founder on last summer talking about not just the brand, but some of the things that they have done to invest in that infrastructure for support. Mm-hmm. Which is really from my standpoint, looking at franchisors, because there's so many of them. Again, I don't want people to just start a franchise. I want them to be wildly successful and meet all their goals. And part of that needs to be like franchisor needs to have those type of things in place for them. So, and then the other thing with you guys, it's a kind of a unique combination. So your kind of franchise agreement is essentially to eventually own 4 units, but one of them was already existing. So you guys kind of purchased one that was in place, mm-hmm. and then now are going to start developing 3 more kind of in that Sacramento over to San Francisco area. What were your thoughts when you actually walked into the one that you now own, and kind of started seeing all of that? What was that feeling like?
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. So, I mean, it wasn't anything that we set out to do to own one existing. Obviously, you brought us in and said, "Hey, talk to these guys about, bringing it to Sacramento, developing some new stores." And when we started talking to them, we found out that there was a corporate run store that, they would be interested in selling potentially. And so we started talking to them about that, and then got to go see that store and kind of meet some of the people and, secret shop it, if you will, kind of go in and see what was going on. And then eventually we looked at the books and everything, and it just, made a ton of sense. But it was really exciting to be able to fast track, ownership in that way, instead of waiting to build out these, new locations. We're able to kind of get our feet wet right off the bat in terms of, I think it's been 3 weeks now that we own, an existing Zoom room in Belmont. So yeah, it's exciting, and it just happened very, very quickly. We woke up one day and, we were owners of a, profitable, fully running dog training business.
Very nice. Yeah. Cause it was corporate rent, and they were not 100% sure they wanted to get rid of it because of how much potential it was. And again, credit to you guys, because I think the one thing I always want to kind of remind folks looking at this for the first time is you don't just buy a franchise, right? It has to be awarded to you. The franchise, it's kind of like dating, right? There has to be that mutual decision on both sides. You guys just blew them away, where they're like, okay, these are totally the people to take over this one, and then kind of have that growth potential over, again, that whole Northern California area, which is going to be yours to expand and grow. Have you taken the kids to the location yet?
Yeah, I think the first day we went and, met the Belmont team and took a look at the store, I think they had a puppy class.
Of course, yeah. They scheduled us to come during the cutest time.
Suckers.
There's like 8 puppies, all lined up, waiting to do their class. And I think that was strategic on their part because, of course, we had our kids with us.
Yeah.
And we're just watching the cutest puppies get trained.
We landed on a day where we met the lead dog trainer for the organization, Courtney, and she's just phenomenal. And, she just gave us the extra feel that day that we needed to know that this company is truly invested, in their leadership and
in the product. I mean, the passion is so clear, that every franchisee, everybody, with the franchisor has for the Zoom Room brand, but also for dog training, and obviously it's a whole new industry to us. I know we already talked about our background, I'm communications and Jordan's been in, healthcare. But, you kind of come in and you just can't ignore the feeling that you get from people when they're so passionate about what they do. So we definitely felt that.
And then taking a further dive, just meeting the current manager in place, the leadership team that they had in place solidified, the deal for us. Great culture being built in the store actively right now. And that's something that Jen and I are both passionate about, culture of, the organizations that we're part of. So we're excited.
Nice. So how many new puppies do you have at the home for the kids now?
Don't even say it. I mean, and we have 3 kids. They need to get a little bit older before we bring a puppy up into this mix, but we're close. It's really hard. It's really hard right now not to.
Well, you have a perfect place to take them when they need their puppy fix. So, but it is another thing. But just like you guys don't have a dog, right? Like in your house.
That's our vulnerability right now. Feeling kind of off brand without having a dog, but it's true. And Jordan grew up with dogs. I think I mentioned early on, we invented a pet product, brought that to market, did the, pet industry trade show circuit for a number of years, very familiar in that sense. But yeah, I mean, Tim, I know where you're leading me. It underscores the fact that you don't have to be in the industry, to get into a certain franchise. And you already mentioned it, but, it's the get out of bed test. You said that multiple times. You bring it up on the podcast a lot, but, I will get out of bed for dogs, even though I don't have one. It's something that's really exciting. And the industry is just like you said, it's fun, it's family friendly. And just because, we didn't have a lot of history in it, I don't think, deters us in any way.
Yeah. And Jenna, you brought up that ultimately you want to learn how to train as well.
Yeah.
And if you get that training done, you could, train our future puppy the way that Zoom Room trains, all of our customers. So I think that's pretty cool too. The timing of that's going to be perfect. So
see, it's even better that we don't have a dog because we want to learn the Zoom Room way first and then do it. So it's all strategic.
Then you'll have the best dog in the neighborhood. And then when everybody's like, how did Fluffy get to be so amazing? Then you're wearing, you got the dog with the Zoom Room sweater on as you're walking it up and down the park. Perfect. Exactly. No, I love it. And I think that's the thing with Zoom Room is yes, it's for the dog, but it's really, it's a people business, right? It's back to their tagline that we don't trade the dogs. We train the people who love them. And when we were building out kind of what you guys wanted, one of the things, and I distinctly remember Jenna using the word like the fluffy stuff, right? Is you're the person that's wants that kind of happy, fun environment. And this is that all day long, right? So, so very, very cool. And I can't I just selfishly, I've greatly enjoyed working with you guys, getting to know you guys. I'm like a little borderline sad because when our clients sign franchise agreements, that's usually when they break up with me and then they don't want to talk to me anymore because they've got the franchisor and all of those things. So I'm so thankful for you guys coming on and chatting, and certainly know you're very, very busy. So I guess maybe last thing I'll throw at you guys, because because you kind of came into this the same way somebody may be listening right now is like, is there something, should I look at this? Should I do it? So somebody out there listening right now, it's like, dang, maybe there's something else out there. What would you want to share with somebody who's maybe considering looking at franchise ownership?
For me, I think it all comes down to what your long-term goals are. And if you're a goal-driven person, you could really create a timeline and see how a franchise could fit in you achieving your goals. And I know that it could be fearful at first, but someone once told me, look at fear as someone that's pushing you from behind, and taking that leap of faith to own a franchise. It's certainly possible. Get out of your comfort zone, be smart about it, follow the process. But again, it all needs to tie into what your long-term goals are.
Mm-hmm. And, Tim, you mentioned, I said kind of early on that, I'm about the fluffy stuff. It's the people and, communication and relationships and things like that. And I think when you're thinking about this, there was never a downside for us in just giving you a call and seeing what else is out there. I think curiosity kind of, had me of going, okay, you see these, handful of franchises and, we knew somebody personally who's very successful. But what else is out there and what could be the right fit for you? And so we never saw a downside in terms of just, hey, let's see what else is out there. If nothing feels like a fit, then it's not the right time, but obviously we ran into something that just ended up being the perfect time and the perfect fit for us. And so, we took that leap. But, I think that there's really just no downside to giving you a call.
Yeah. And Tim, you hit on it earlier where you said it's not just your McDonald's or Taco Bells. And I think a lot of people could have that tunnel vision when they're looking at a franchise. But again, going through this process and exploring the different options with you, it really does bring in other factors that you weren't considering in the past and what possibilities are out there, because there are plenty of franchises and each franchise could fit into each person's unique goals and structure that they're trying to achieve.
Yeah. And just to pile on one more time, when we were looking for it, you presented us with 3 options. And I think a few of them, maybe in a few years, like we would revisit, it just wasn't the time for us. Our goal right now was to find something, for me to do and leave corporate America, but have Jordan kind of, stay with the job that he's, really passionate about and the career that he's built. But if we were in a different situation, like you said, Tim, where, one of us had lost our job, there was something else going on, one of those other franchise options might have been the better fit. Yeah. So, it also just kind of depends on where you're at, personally. And, I think there's, again, just not a downside to knowing what is out there. And I think those other options will always be in the back of our minds as well.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up. You nailed it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
And good job, Jordan, for kissing up to Jenna. So awesome.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, I got a wife here.
Yeah, very, very, very smart man, Jordan. So guys, I cannot thank you enough for coming on to the podcast and hanging out with us for a little bit today. So thank you so much for that.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, thanks for everything, Tim. We really appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. And I'm excited for you guys. I am confident you're going to be enormous success with successful owners with Zoom Room all over Northern California, not just the one you got going now. So thank you for that. And for all of our loyal podcast listeners, we hope the Franchising 101 series continues to provide insight into the amazing possibilities that can be achieved as a franchise owner. Be sure to subscribe and follow us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, so you never miss an episode. If you would like to learn more about possibly becoming a franchise owner yourself, let's schedule a brief introductory call. There's never any fee for our service. Click the window in your podcast, the link in your podcast window, or find us online at francoach.net. Just like Jenna and Jordan did. Send us a message, let's hop on the phone. Again, never any fee for our service. So we encourage you to take that first step today to help create your better tomorrow. Thanks everybody for joining us. Have a fantastic day and we hope to talk with you soon. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to Francoach's Franchising 101 podcast. where our ultimate goal is to help educate you on all things franchising so you can create your better tomorrow.